USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2018 USA Ultimate College Championships. Getting ready for the first women's semifinal, a matchup that nobody saw coming. The 12 seed Colorado Colley, the 10 seed Pittsburgh Danger. Colorado in the semis for the second year in a row. Pittsburgh making their deepest ever appearance at Nationals, and whoever survives this one will be a heavy underdog in the final, because Dartmouth and Stanford have been the heavyweight programs, the last two champs in the women's division. But hey, it's going to be fun to see what this Colorado and Pittsburgh team can do with Megan Tormey. I am Evan Lepler, and they've been very impressive in how they've gone about their business this weekend.
Yeah, both of these teams have been very gritty players, and now that they're here in the semifinals, they are playing with house money. Nobody believed that they would be here, except, of course, for themselves. So they are both determined to make a statement and prove that this is exactly where they belong. 7
of the 8 pool winners between the two divisions made it into the Final Four. The lone exception is Colorado. They came from the pre-quarters. They knocked off their regional rival, Texas, in a thrilling quarterfinal earlier this morning. Claire Chastain back at the helm. Jean Russell, the Callahan nominee. But number 99, Kelsey Bennett, has been a huge anchor for this Colley club.
She is such a fun handler to watch. When she gets the disc, she centers herself and surveys the situation. That sets a tone of calm on offense. So everyone knows that they have the time to make the cuts necessary. It contrasts very nicely with their very frenzied style of defensive play.
She'll be around the disc a dunk. She had 114 completions in the semis a year ago. Pittsburgh Danger, what a performance they have done. They knocked off North Carolina, the 3 overall seed. They had a great comeback against British Columbia to finish off pool play. They took care of Oregon Fugue, a power program, this morning. And what can you say about Caroline Normile? She is special.
Normile does it all. You'll find her on the field where the action is happening, usually leading the charge. She's a very well-rounded player who carries a lot for this team, but not everything. She does a good job of stepping back and allowing other players to assist with the play. It's fantastic because it allows her to showcase her talent while still elevating the play of those around her.
She was on the brink of a club championship last fall with Philly Amp, trying to bring her college team to the promised land. This should be a tremendous matchup. The one meeting between these two during the regular season went to Universe Point. Pitt beat Colorado by 1. We'll see another great game over the next couple of hours. Stay with us. The 2018 USA Ultimate College Championships are presented by Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin Ultimate on the web at spinultimate.com. And by Discraft, the official disc of USA Ultimate, now available at Midwest Meyer stores and over 2,000 retailers nationwide. Colorado Colley with Wilmoth, Capra, Hutchinson, the talented freshman Siowa Lastra, Macri, Chestnut, and Nevin. For Claire Chastain, she's added Anna Updike and Christina Mickle, a couple former Colley products to the program as assistants this year. Colorado with basically half of their roster being new back in the semis for the second year in a row as the 12 seed in the tournament. Their opponent, the 10 seed, Pittsburgh Danger, making their first semifinal appearance. Normile is the superstar, but this is a deep team. Miranda Kosowski has been excellent with a disc, and it seems in every single game, a different Pittsburgh player makes a spectacular play. Third member of our broadcast crew is Ian Toner down on the field. For Colorado, Ian, Ni Win has been such an X factor when she's been available. What's the story, the latest with Ni?
Yeah, Ni Win is perhaps the most experienced and talented member of this Colley roster, having racked up multiple international World Junior Championships, but she's been battling a hamstring injury this entire season. It's impacted her this weekend to the point that she's had to take multiple injury substitutions, but she's fought through them and come back even as recently as the quarterfinal game against Texas to guide the younger Colley team members onto victory.
It's been incredible, her resilience and opening pull launch. Pittsburgh is on offense at the start. Colorado won the flip, chose to be on D. And immediately a deep shot goes up. Not really intended to anyone in particular. Normile was going deep, but she was a good 20-yard shy. And that's a punt as much as anything else to get things started. grab by Hutchinson on that near sideline. Colorado, the only semifinalist to go through the pre-quarters. We've had years when every semifinalist has come from the pre-quarters. More chalk in the brackets this year, except for Colorado getting the best of their regional rivals, Texas Melee. A game that Melee started with a couple of breaks, and Colorado was down but battled their way back. Just incredible momentum late in that game. Capra's throw over the outstretched reach of Nevin.
Evan, I think this is probably going to be a turn-heavy game. Both of these teams are a little bit younger, a little less finesse than some of the other players, other teams we've seen at nationals. It's really their grit and determination that has got them this far. So it'll be interesting to see how these two teams who have similar storylines are going to match up.
Great defense there. Meg Henderson on Normile. Hutchinson to the end zone, just out of the reach of the lunging Rachel Wilmoth. Wilmoth, a grad student, but in her first year with Kali.
And that throw, an excellent decision, just execution, needed a little more lift underneath the disc in order to sail high enough to be caught.
Katie Schreiber ahead for Lynn Bianas. Interesting that Normile has been playing downfield most of the point. She goes up in the end zone, makes the sky. Pittsburgh's on the board.
And that is exactly the sort of play you can expect from Carolyn Normile. She's someone who doesn't mind playing under pressure. She is going to make those plays, especially in games that count as much as this one does.
And you noticed when that huck went up, Normile made every effort to keep that defender on her back hip. She didn't attack the disc too early. She maintained body position and used that boxing out skill to come down with the disc.
I asked the Pittsburgh coaching staff, Ben Banyas, Molly Moore, and Lauren Franke, what has made Normile so special? And Lauren Franke said just one word: humble. And they talked about how she is a star, but she's a great team player, and you could see it on that point. And I think that's the reason why Pitt beat Carolina the way they did. UNC has some depth too, but they really relied on superstar Jenny Way, and for good reason. Carolyn Normile trusted her teammates maybe a little bit more, and that was enough to get that tremendous come-from-behind win.
And that makes all the difference, especially in tournaments like these that are long, when the days are hot and when all competition is really good. I think by contrast, that's exactly what happened in the game against Texas and Colorado. Texas relied very heavily on their top talent, and it caused them to burn out before the end of the game, just the same way it did UNC when they played Pitt.
Win is on the field for Colorado's first 0 point. Back to Bennett, who connects downfield with Henderson. Looking to the end zone, and that will work. Katie McCormick is there, but there was a call, so hold everything.
I think Meg Henderson followed through on her backhand mid-range huck and may have hit Jessie Sun in the face.
Am I really Justin? Was it travel? Come back here.
And we're going back even before Meg Henderson got the disc. It's the throw to Meg Henderson. Kelsey Bennett travel.
Travel on this throw.
Jana Hamaker, Kate Monforti, Marvin Wong, and Dan Lorela, the observers for this first women's semifinal.
And we're going to have an injury substitution here. Henderson's follow-through hitting Sun in the face. Colorado's going to keep all of the same personnel out on the field.
Sarah Russick, senior from Philadelphia, onto the field for Pitt. See if Colorado can make it look as easy as they did before the travel was called. Bennett. Connecting with Russell. Oh, through the grasp of Henderson in the end zone.
And as Pitt picks this disc up on their own goal line, the wind has kind of picked up considerably over the last round, and it's a much more definitive upwind, downwind game with the Pitt D-line having to work upwind here.
Henderson intercepts the half-field shot. Megan, how you feel about just when you come up to the booth, they start the breeze down on the field? Good defense from Danger in the end zone as Zaruki knocks the disc to the ground.
There certainly was enough of a breeze last game to keep it somewhat comfortable down on the field, but this wind is a lot stronger and is going to be more impactful in this game.
Colorado not able to do much their first 2 times with the disc. Pittsburgh unable to counter. Back to Bennett. Just hucking it deep. She's got some teammates in the end zone. And how about that? Katie McCormick runs it down. And we're even at 1 apiece.
And that throw, a nice classic put from Bennett, who took her time recognizing what play was transpiring downfield. Yes, there were some Pittsburgh defenders, but I think she liked the numbers matchup, seeing 3 potential Colorado receivers to only 2 Pittsburgh defenders.
Bit of a defensive breakdown from Pitt.
Certainly, to leave that many individuals unmarked, or at least uncontested in the end zone, certainly.
And to be sure, the Pitt defense had worked really well up until that point. It was right here next to Bennett before she released that throw, and the marker had gotten up to stall 8, so she was running out of time to make a decision.
Won't be her last here in the semifinal. One of the leaders in the tournament, Kelsey Bennett from Monarch High School. Superior, Colorado, where she and Nee Win went together. They've been playing Ultimate together for about 9 years. You'll see that in the chemistry that Win has. And we just heard the air horn, and we had received word that lightning was in the area. And goodness gracious, they've announced a weather delay. Maybe it'll help cool things off a little bit, I don't know. 1-1, just 2 points in, both teams with holds. The anticipation for Pittsburgh, their first semifinal ever. Colorado back in the semis for the 2nd straight year, trying to get to their first final. Hold everything.
And that's certainly not a bad time to have a lightning delay. Both teams will have an opportunity to chat about the way the first couple of points have gone. We'll see what they come out with when the weather finally permits.
Certainly feels strange to have a weather delay when it's nice outside, but perhaps the lightning and thunderstorms are coming. As of now, it's looking like perhaps a 20-minute weather delay, somewhere around there. As soon as we have more information, we will let you know. 1-1, Colorado and Pitt, the first women's semifinal from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The 2nd game of a quadruple header of semifinal coverage on Memorial Day Sunday. Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Milwaukee. We're in the first half of the first women's semifinal. Colorado and Pittsburgh tied at 1. The last time these 2 teams met on March 3rd in Stanford, California. Haley Grayeski on Universe Point over 2 Colorado players for the game winner. That still shot from multi-photos. That was the difference last time. We expect another close game today, and after about a 45-minute lightning delay, we are ready to go with Megan Tormey and Ian Toner down on the field. I'm Evan Lepler. Ian, the wind has seemingly calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, things have changed quite a bit, whereas conditions were significantly gustier, the wind was significantly stronger earlier on. Things are significantly calmer now, and it's much less of an upwind, downwind game. Very still throwing conditions for throwers on both teams.
There were 4 turnovers on each of the first 2 points, 2 per side. Each team had an offensive hold. And this basically is like a whole new game because it's just a game to 14 now instead of a game to 15 as we start at 1.
Exactly right. So the fact that the lightning delay came so early in the game kind of just resets everything for everyone.
Great job running that one down, Lynn Pianis. Back to Kozowski. Hannah Blizzard, a touch for Normile. Great disc movement, and Pittsburgh scores without a mistake. 2-1, danger.
And you could certainly see the difference in condition that offensive possession. Look at how easy and how smoothly Pittsburgh is able to work it down the disc. The fact that the conditions have changed is going to make things harder for Colorado's defense. They are known for getting in and getting gritty anytime a disc sails a little too high. They're going to have to play tighter in this game to match up against offensive flow like that.
Sarah Russick with the score. One of the many great young players who was invited to the U24 Team USA tryout. A bunch of players on this Pittsburgh team attended that tryout. Now Colorado's turn to answer. But first, a look at Pittsburgh's road to the Final Four. 4-0 through pool play. It was not easy. They were the 3 seed in their pool. They knocked off North Carolina on Saturday morning and then had a come-from-behind win. Trailed British Columbia 14-11. Came back to win 16-15. If they don't win that game, they're playing a much tougher pre-quarter first and then quarterfinal opponent.
You know, I asked Coach Ben Banyas going into this game, what did he do to teach these girls, these women, that they had the opportunity to win at nationals? And he said they took ownership themselves, taking on extra practices. They received guidance from the leadership, but really it's what they wanted to accomplish.
Intercepted by Normile in the end zone. And she launches long, looking for Elongo. Great catch, 3/4 of the way down the field. Now only 5 yards away from a break. Flanagan resets for Normile. And she throws 2 teammates open. Allison Hill has the score. What a point for Carolyn Normile.
First of all, it doesn't get more crucial than catching the disc for the D in the end zone. Here you see she just cut Meg Henderson off at the head and then immediately runs the disc up to the front end zone line and launches a beauty. There are 2 Colorado defenders in the area, and yet she still puts it out to space enough for Elongo to run it down. And here's what we've talked about. Her being a humble player, trusting her teammates to work the disc down. Of course, then she does come in and make the assist. But she wasn't gunning for that play.
And Megan, I think when Normile ran that disc up to the goal line, she was also looking at the matchup because Elongo had several inches of height on Bennett and knew that that was a matchup she could trust.
So Pittsburgh has clearly thrown the first punch out of the lightning delay. Kelsey Bennett will collect the disc for Kali. Wide open for the easy under to Emma Capra. Now aggressively marked by Sophia Vidic. Bennett unwinds deep. And it's going to fade out of bounds, intended for win.
This is the second point in a row we've seen poor execution from from Colorado to players in the end zone. The past two times Pittsburgh been able to take care of the disc moving in the other direction. We'll see how they handle it this possession.
They're going to get another chance. Colorado, Russell. Sacrificing a lot of yards to get the reset to Bennett. Knee win. Open target. Will the throw hang up? Not long enough. Again, it's Hannah Blizzard off the Colorado turnover, and she'll fire deep. A couple Pitt players there. Kelsey Bennett defending for Colorado. And this is a Collie O point. And oh goodness, great effort by Knee Win. Bruised hamstring and all, but unable to keep that disc in bounds.
Disc goes back to danger. Blizzard to pick up once again.
And Win rejects the big backhand from Blizzard. Wow.
That is such a tough feeling when you wind up for a big backhand and it gets stopped.
Could you hear that, Ian?
That was incredible. And I think it was all on Win's forearm.
On the goal line, Bennett connects. Knee Win. It's going to leave a mark.
That is definitely going to bruise. You know, Win did an excellent job defending that point. She was really watching where Blizzard wanted to put the disc, which is how she was able to position herself to get that block. And then finally some patience from Colorado in the way they executed their offense right outside of the end zone.
Bennett to Russell. Earlier today, Colorado able to avenge their 12-10 loss to Texas in the regional final. A great women's ultimate rivalry that those two schools have developed. The rivalry's been around forever, but the past couple of years when both teams have been so strong, it has heightened to a different intensity. They surpassed Texas 12-8, getting the best of melee. They beat NC State, who had the impressive Friday morning win over Oregon to start the pool play. That was a huge upset at the time. The 16 seed NC State Jaega over 5 seed Oregon Fugue. NC State, though, running out of gas, and Colorado back in the semis for the second year in a row. 12 months ago, it was Texas's Julia Schmaltz that was dominant in the semifinal, and the Colorado defense, stingy, creates a turnover. Katie Schreiber was close. Now Colorado the other way, in the whites. Oh, how about the defense to get that disc back? Miranda Kozowski immediately double teamed by the two Colorado defenders, but Pittsburgh, impervious, takes it into the end zone for Lynn Bianis.
Miranda Kozlowski to the end zone. Lynn Bianis brings it into for the danger score. That's Pittsburgh 4, Colorado 2.
Before the game, I said I thought this was probably going to be a turn-heavy game. And of course, the wind conditions have died down. And now that we're out of the lightning delay, Pittsburgh really seems to be taking their time to run their offense. This is far more calm offense from Pitt than I was expecting, simply because I imagined that Colorado's defense was going to get in there and be a little grittier, but they have really struggled since we came back from the break to get in and ruin Pitt's offensive momentum.
Kozlowski, 2 assists already. The D and the dime to put danger ahead 4-2. Winner of this game will face the winner of Dartmouth and Stanford tomorrow afternoon on ESPNU. Can't wait for that game later tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. Dartmouth, the #1 seed and the defending champ. Everyone thought Stanford-Dartmouth would be the final last year, but because Dartmouth slipped up in pool play, it ended up being a quarterfinal matchup where Dartmouth knocked off the #1 seed, Stanford, the defending champs. Princess Leia going on to beat Texas Melee in the final.
It is always fun to see these surprising storylines at nationals. You go in expecting things to play out a certain way, and then teams come out with impressive performances or unimpressive performances, kind of shake things up towards bracket play.
Stanford played Dartmouth as well as anybody did this season. Princess Layout still won, but Superfly gave the Dartmouth squad a lot of things to think about. Here's Kelsey Bennett for Colorado to Jean Russell. Nice job coming through the disc to keep possession alive by McCormick. Over to Wynn. Just shy of the goal line and not anymore. Alana Chen is there.
And like you pointed out after the last point, Megan, the smoothness of the offenses working from right to left on your screen after this timeout, the difference is like night and day, given the stillness of the wind, making the conditions that much easier for the throwers.
It's the first turnover-free offensive hold of the game for Colorado. Kali.
Yeah, Colorado has definitely found their rhythm that point. You notice them moving the disc from left to right, the full width of the field, allowing players the time necessary to set up the next or the ensuing cut.
Colorado's program has been building. Tied for 3rd in the country back in 2010. Not qualifying for nationals 4 years in a row. Won the South Central region each of the last 3 years before Texas got the better of them this year in the final. Tied for 5th in 15 and 16, made the semis in 2017. Good downfield defense from Jessie Chestnut. And she'll take the timeout. Pittsburgh has the game's only break. Nora Mile to Hill, that made it 3-1. And it was a foul. Looked like she signaled for the timeout, but we'll play on. Normile just plucks it. Destined for the turf, but then Pittsburgh gives it right back. Lostra the interception. And here we go. Capra floats it out of bounds. Hannah Blizzard, second on Pittsburgh in assists during this tournament, behind only Normile, who led the team in goals and assists, just like she did the U24 national team at U24 Worlds in Perth, Australia this January. Pittsburgh's getting some pretty good flow with some open targets downfield.
Yeah, they are definitely taking the time to get things set up appropriately. They're running very smooth, very disciplined offense, which I think is making things difficult for Colorado. There aren't many mistakes for them to capitalize on and get in there and take the disc away from Pittsburgh.
Blizzard to Normile, culminating the smooth offense after we saw the flurry of turnovers earlier in the point.
Man, players on Pittsburgh doing an excellent job of staying out of the open lane, making sure there's plenty of room for the throwers to work with as they wait for cuts to develop.
Megan, when you're on a USA national team, you're one of a couple dozen great players. The statistics are usually spread out. But Carolyn Normile finished U24 Worlds with 22 assists. Angela Zhu, last year's Callahan winner, had 21. Ella Hansen, the star quarterback for Oregon Fugue, had 19. Tulsa Douglas, Juliana Werfele, each had 16. And then Normile also led the team with 14 goals. 2 more than Dartmouth's Claire Trope. Abby Abramovich had 11. Sophia Knowles and Kayla Strick each had 10.
There's no question Normile is excellent at gauging where she needs to be on the field. And her sense of timing enables her to be either outside of the end zone and impactful or cutting into the end zone at the appropriate time. You see that on defense as well. That's why she's able to get so many deep Ds. It's not an accident. It's not because she happens to be in the area. But at all points in time, she's recognizing where the disc is and where the play might occur.
If you're wondering, Jacqueline Verjou, who only played intermittently, as Normile deflects it, and then her teammate Jessie Sun helps to usher it to the ground. Verjou had limited playing time at World. She finished the tournament with 9 goals and 3 assists. Verjou looking healthy this weekend. We'll see her and Dartmouth Princess Layout later tonight.
And if Normile is smart after this turnover, she will work downfield and test the health of Knee Wynn's hamstring.
Unable to connect with Normile up the line. Wynn, another member of that U24 team that won gold in Perth. Meg Henderson connecting with Jean Russell. And then Bennett. 5-4.
There's just a slight overthrow from Sun trying to hit Normile, who is pining up the line. And then a great find from Bennett finding Meg Henderson on the opposite side of the field. Here we see the pass to Russell. Russell and Bennett have had such good chemistry this season. They're excellent at knowing, anticipating what the other player wants. There's a lot of smooth offense that generates or originates from these two individuals.
Timeout called on the field by Pittsburgh. Danger leading by 1, getting ready to receive. Ian Toner, the turf was oppressively hot during the Oregon-North Carolina game. Did the lightning delay, didn't have any thunderstorms, but has it cooled off at all, or is it still pretty brutal down there?
Oh, no. I feel so fortunate, and I feel so bad for Megan, who had to work our earlier game down here on the sidelines. It's a nice, comfortable mid to upper 70s, a little humid, a little sticky, but again, very still, significantly cooler than earlier. And to be honest with you, there are some storms that look like they're rolling in. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some precipitation in the near future.
Let's hope not, but we got no control over that. Remember 2 years ago in Raleigh, semifinal Sunday was interrupted by thunderstorms several times during that North Carolina-Harvard semifinal, the early evening, and then that Pittsburgh-Minnesota men's game, which went down to the wire Universe Point. That game didn't end until, I think, Monday morning. I think it was after midnight when that game finally ended. It was late night ultimate in North Carolina, and we had great games. Can only be so lucky to have that kind of drama today. First game certainly lived up to the billing. North Carolina over Oregon. Claire Chastain on the right. Former Callahan Award winner, member of UNC Wilmington. She wanted to play for Molly Brown. She got an internship at the Brewers Association to go out to Denver, Colorado. Some ultimate connections helped get her foot in the door. She got an email from Bob Cryer, longtime Johnny Bravo coach, U24 coach. He had coached Fairview High School, and they were looking for someone to fill in. She hadn't really considered coaching, but Claire Chastain became the coach at Fairview High School for a year, where she coached Caitlin Lee, who we'll see later tonight with Dartmouth. And then Jack McShane stepped away from Colorado Colley. He had coached the Colorado women's team for a handful of years. Since 2015, Claire Chastain has been at the helm. Have they really seen gradual growth? And to make it back to semifinals back-to-back years with half the team being different says something about the ability to sustain the program long-term.
There is a mentality in the Colorado program about developing youth, and I think that that helps foster a good foundation that can sustain the loss of even some of your top players from year to year. You know, in this tournament alone, they've given so much playing time to rookie players. They run what they call a baby line that is primarily freshman players. The nice thing is then it gives the offensive line a bit of rest, the leading defensive line a bit of rest, and gives the younger players lots of opportunity to grow in high-pressure situations. That can be a very tricky thing to do as a coach, but you have to trust your youth if you want your program to grow and sustain over years.
They threw that baby line out there a couple times against Texas, led to a goal once. It's like finding a $100 bill under your couch cushion.
Well, the point that didn't lead to a goal still involved D after D after D, so they fatigued the top Texas players.
And that was the story for Melee. They were missing Gabby Quina, ACL injury. Here's a long shot that finds its target, Rachel Wilmoth. Laura Gerenser, Domenica Sutherland did all they could, but it was not enough to get back to the semis. And there's Carolyn Normile just cleaning it up. Throw in her direction at your own peril if you're Colorado. This is going to function like a punt. Did not take enough time. She had a target. Katie Schreiber was going deep. The throw came too soon. Could have used another pivot.
There's the great D from Normile, and if you missed the replay, just wait. She's bound to do it again. But a surprising squander from Pittsburgh, who has been so patient with the disc since we returned from the lightning delay.
And Evan and Megan, not sure how apparent it is to you all up in the booth, but in the last 10 minutes, the wind has slowly started to pick back up. Whereas we had stiller conditions just a few moments ago, the Pittsburgh offense is working downwind from right to left on your screen.
That disc is not going to come back in. I think he was talking to you there, so not only is it cooled off, but he also has a nice breeze. Nevin initiates off the 5th turnover of the point. Oh, kept alive. Katiana Hutchinson launches immediately. Carolyn Normiles nowhere to be found, but Jessie Chestnut is there for the equalizer. That's a Kali break.
Katiana Hutchinson thrives under pressure, in traffic, surrounded by the opposing team's defender. She has made play after play like that, and then always has the wherewithal to turn downfield and make the right decision.
You saw that left hand, she pointed and then launched and hit. Katiana Hutchinson, a senior from Kansas City, Missouri. So it's 5-all in this first women's semifinal. The 12 seed and the 10 seed. These are really the two big upset stories in the tournament. Uh-oh. Fans are gonna boo. Both teams are frustrated. We just heard the horn again. There, unlike last time, there are some ominous looking clouds in our view at the moment.
Yeah, it seems to make more sense this time around, but it seems only appropriate. They've tied things up again.
Once again, we want everybody to be safe, so please make your way to the vehicle.
So an appropriate time for both teams to take a reset, find some safety while we wait out this weather.
Each team has one break. You see the ominous skies.
Sorry, folks, some nasty weather coming
It's
through
been
again.
very hot. The skies are not looking good, and we'll be on probably another 30-minute break or so. If we have an update, we will come back to you. You can also check for updates on Twitter, USA Ultimate. We'll keep everybody posted there. Colorado and Pittsburgh, 5-all. One of these teams is going to be an unlikely finalist tomorrow. We welcome everyone back to Milwaukee, where hopefully the third time will be the charm for this Colorado-Pittsburgh game. We got it started once, had a lightning delay of about 45 minutes, played 8 more points, then had another hour and a quarter lightning delay. We're tied at 5. Each team has had the same number of turnovers. Each team has had one break. Each team is determined to get to the championship game at 2018 Nationals. The skies have cleared. It has cooled off dramatically, which is something to be thankful for. And Colorado is trying to devise a way to stop Carolyn Normile, who has been dominant at whatever facet of the game she has decided to impact.
I certainly think that Normile's impact is a result of mistakes that Colorado has made. All the same, for her to always be in the right position is something they need to keep in mind and keep an eye on where she is on the field before they decide to unleash a long throw.
Last point was a Colorado break. They were down 5-3. We're now tied 5-all. The deep shot goes up, and it's knocked away by Colorado's Rachel Wilmoth.
Normal tried to shape that disc far enough to the left, whereas the right is the way we're looking at it right now. But it wasn't quite high enough to sail over the outstretched arms of Wilmoth.
It's got to be so strange for these players. You're in the middle of one of the most competitive, intense games of your life, such high stakes, a game that you know you're going to remember forever, and you just had to sit around and twiddle your thumbs for 75 minutes.
I think the one saving grace is the fact that we've had 2 lightning delays, and both teams were tied for both lightning delays, 1-1, 5-5. Mentally, it makes it a lot easier to step out onto the field and say to yourself, this is just the start of a new game. If there was a deficit to overcome after waiting an hour and 15 minutes, that would be much more of an emotional hurdle to overcome.
Colorado looks loose. They're on the goal line. Collie, so far this weekend, the loss to Dartmouth. They fell behind big in the Santa Barbara game, but came back to beat Burning Skirts, and then over NC State and Texas in the bracket play. Ian Toner down on the sidelines. Have the players picked up right where they left off from an energy standpoint over an hour ago?
You know, I think they're still feeling things out. If the players haven't picked things back up, their sideline support in the stands certainly has. We've been able to hear every single cheer from the Ohio State fans who are supporting their in-region rivals, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the crowd is filled back in nicely. Credit to the Ultimate Worlds waiting out these delays. Hopefully we are in the clear for a while. Out of the timeout, Emma Capra. By the way, there was a pretty sustained downpour during the last delay, so the turf is certainly damp. It has cooled off dramatically.
I'm not sure instead she got the tackle. So it's here. Turn over here.
How about that? Have a
Tap
timeout.
the disc and then we can move.
Credit goes to Pittsburgh's defense. As a collective, they shut down the open lane, taking away any opportunity for Colorado to make that score.
Big windup and launch. Kozowski for Normile. And there was certainly contact, but there was a call. And no contest.
It looks like there's no contest on that call. No retain possession. It's a 1-on-1 for danger.
Freshman Silo Lastra trying to stay with Normile. Easier said than done. 6-5 Pitt.
And the key to Pittsburgh scoring that goal was the unmarked huck that went up the break side after Collie defender Emma Capra kind of oversold and sold out to stop the force side flick huck that opened up the break side backhand lane on the deep shot to Normile.
Tough assignment for Lastra. You noticed Normile dumped and immediately pined or struck forward into the end zone for that score. If you're not ready to react, Normile is going to burn you.
The leader in goals and assists at Nationals for Pittsburgh Danger in 2018. Normile was a key member of AMP that went all the way to the finals at Club Nationals last fall down in Sarasota. Normile and Anna Thompson and Raha Mozafari, the females were so good on that team, and one of her teammates on the male side, Mike Ing, we'll see with Pittsburgh later today against Carleton. Knee Win winds up, and she overthrows Meg Henderson.
Colorado has struggled to connect long in this game. A lot of their puts sailing not nearly high and far enough for their teammates to run up underneath them.
And I don't know if that was a wet disc coming out of Normile's hand or coming out of Wynn's hand, but there's absolutely no wind down here on the field.
The swing over to Jesse's son, member of the U20 national team, 20-year-old from Philly. Torrey Smith. Little give and go with Son. Downfield, nice catch. Gabby Duran. Normile fires. Deflected away. Gene Russell was there for the D.
Great D from Russell. You saw Normile pick up the disc. See Grayeski cutting deep. It was a good find, but Russell's D was better.
And you could hear the Pittsburgh defenders and sidelines yelling roll, trying to communicate that switch, and that stopped the upline cut to Bennett there.
McCormick fires. Knee Wynn got a few steps on Normile. She's shy of the goal line. To Bennett. Goes over the stack. It's going to hang in the air, and it's going to be caught. Alana Chen with her second score, and Kali ties it up at 6.
As soon as that disc went up, Chen noticed that Hill was in the hunt for that D. Here, of course, is the throw to Wynn that gets the disc right outside of the end zone for Colorado. Hill in hot pursuit of that D.
Kelsey Bennett, a creative thrower again. Last year in the semifinal game against Texas, she touched the disc more than anyone else in the game. She finished with 114 completions in that single game. The semifinal against Texas last year was not enough. Ian, I'm curious about Knee Wynn, and she seems to be moving pretty well. What are you seeing from her?
Yeah, I haven't seen her limited in any of her downfield coverage. And I would have expected to see someone favoring or dealing with a hamstring injury to try and stick around and switch onto assignments in the backfield. But she's followed Normile downfield. She's even initiated her own cuts downfield, as we saw on that last point. Hard to tell that she's dealing with an injury right now, and credit to her.
Pittsburgh's 0 point at 6-all. We are on serve in the first half. That has been twice interrupted. This women's semifinal. Winner of this one faces the winner of Dartmouth and Stanford, who will play at some point later tonight, weather permitting. Colorado's going to have another chance to break. Nice job to keep it alive by Chestnut. Wilmoth angles it across midfield. Britta Bergstrom. Bergstrom, one of the 5 Lakewood High School alums on this Colorado team. Lakewood has produced a lot of ultimate players through the years, including 2 players who are on the USA World Games team that won gold in Poland. Summer of 2017, Jimmy Mickle and Leanne Hoffman. Of course, Jimmy's twin sister, Christina, one of the assistant coaches on Collie this year and a Colorado alum.
Coming in on one. Coming in on one.
Chestnut on the doorstep. And a pick downfield with a disc in the hands of Fiona Dragonfly, another Lakewood product.
Okay, so it was before the throw. The pick was before the throw. It's coming in on one. Coming in on one. Coming in on one.
High throw kept alive by Macri. And then she hits Hutchinson for the break. Colorado's fired up. 7-6 Collie.
And for good reason. That is the most competent their offense has looked this entire game. They were forced against the sideline many times by some really tight defensive pressure, but they always managed to find the open player. And then as they neared the end zone, they maintained their composure. Here, a slightly high throw that is reeled in by McCree. And then, of course, Hutchison cutting to the open side for the score.
Hutchinson has been very impactful all weekend long for Colorado. And how about Kate Macri? At 30 years old, the grad student is actually master's eligible playing college ultimate. You don't see that very often. Her teammates and coaches insisted that we mention that on the broadcast.
Sure, she appreciates it.
And she's still got eligibility to go. She's in her third year with the team. Originally from Indiana. I think Macri holds the proud distinction of being the eldest player in the tournament this year. Remember, Harvard's David Resheff held that distinction for a couple years with Redline. Play as long as you can is really the point. Looking to retaliate, and Pittsburgh answers with efficient authority. 7-all. Appropriately, number 7, Katie Schreiber with the score.
Efficient being the key word. Pittsburgh's offense has just been on fire this game. The timing of the cuts coming at the appropriate moment. The handlers never have to wait long with the Frisbee. They turn, look down the field, and the next cut is developing. It's textbook ultimate, and everyone is on the same page.
Looks like a timeout has been called. One more point as we take it to half. And the Pittsburgh flow, I mean, that's the kind of disc movement we saw against North Carolina and against UBC, and earlier today. Feels like a long time ago now since they beat Oregon this morning. Game that started at 8 a.m. local time here in Milwaukee. But it's as good as Carolyn Normile has been. It's not just the Normile show. This is a great team. Wins over Florida, Whitman. UNC Pleiades, the come-from-behind win over UBC to take the pool. If UBC had won that game, North Carolina would have won the pool via point diff, because then UNC, UBC, and Pitt would all have been 3-1, and that would have changed everything entirely. Pitt probably would have ended up being the 2 seed in the pool, and they would have been lined up to face Stanford in a quarterfinal. Pleiades, North Carolina had that tough challenge instead. Did not work out for the women from Chapel Hill. Stanford Superfly was too good.
Stanford has been looking good all weekend, and I'm really excited to see them go up against Dartmouth tonight. Certainly not the matchups that I was expecting in the semifinals coming into this weekend, but it's going to be a good game for sure.
Well, it's the bottom of the 5 o'clock hour here in Milwaukee. If things had gone smoothly, Carleton and Pitt men would be starting right about now. But hold on, guys. We'll get to you in an hour and a half or so. First, some business to finish in this first women's semifinal. Looking to take half. Henderson sending deep, and Knee Win near the sideline has no play. Normile will pick up for Pittsburgh. Normile, a product of Lower Merion High School in suburban Philly, a school that has produced double-digit number of players who are competing at nationals this year.
And you look at how much respect Wynn is giving Normile by taking so many steps off on the mark to try and shut down as many angles as possible.
She still gets the lefty backhand off, connecting with Sun. Good little handler cut from Kasowski. And now Normile. Wynn gets a little closer on the mark this time, but still giving her that respect. The backhand was a beauty, and Pittsburgh takes it to half on the tumbling grab from Sarah Russick.
A tight throw, but Normile able to make it happen. Wynn bids to try and stop it from going off. But Normile able to work that angle. And credit, of course, goes to Russick for towing the line and holding on to that disc through pressure. And that close to the end zone.
Pittsburgh breaks to take it to half. Danger ahead 8-7. We are on serve. Colorado will receive to start the second half. Down on the field, Ian Toner with Colorado colleague coach Claire Chastain.
Thanks, Evan. Claire, how do you feel your team handled the extended weather delays that we've seen in this first half?
I think we've been doing really well. We had a little bit of like crazy energy in there in the first one, and then I think we learned from that and took it a little bit more relaxed and kind of brought that energy out on the field this time. So we came out firing both times.
Can you talk about Knee Win's performance and how she's been battling through such injuries to perform at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, Knee always shows up, right? Like, she's just one of those players that no matter what is going to show up and do what she needs to do, and she's doing that, and I had no doubt that she would.
If there's one message you want to communicate to your defense for the second half, what's that going to be?
Keep forcing turns. I think we're doing a good job at making them look, you know, around the field. We're kind of flashing in the lane and playing really tight handler defense, and I think it's just like, keep playing tight. We're going to get our opportunities. It's really about our offense. We have to dump swing.
Well, thanks for your time, Claire. Evan, back up to you.
Ian, thanks. Claire Chastain, during the half of the second men's semifinal, will be one of the former Callahan winners to present this year's Women's Callahan Award. Carolyn Normile, a top 5 finalist, but more importantly in her mind, she's trying to get to the final of 2018 Nationals.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers,
And even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, it knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play ultimate, we live ultimate.
Well, you can see the Callahan ceremony is underway. The 5 finalists are standing by. There's Trent Dillon and Jonathan Nethercutt, former Callahan Award winners in attendance. Trent winning with Pitt, Jonathan Nethercutt with UNC. We'll let you know who wins in just a moment, but first, Megan, let's take a look at some of the highlights from this first half. Neither team led by more than 2. Pittsburgh jumped out to the 3-1 lead. It was 5-3, and then Colorado broke to get it back. We had another break at 5-5. Colorado took their first lead at 7-6. Pittsburgh scored the final 2 of the half to go ahead 8-7. We are on serve.
They've been scoring with beautiful offense, but of course we've seen some fantastic defensive pressure from both teams as well. Although the Pittsburgh offense flowing just a little bit more easily than I think Colorado would like. Colorado is a really gritty team. They like to try and take the disc away from the opponents. But Pittsburgh has been answering back and taking the disc away from them as well. Carolyn Normile having some big plays for Pittsburgh. And of course, she's not the only one who's performing well. Hutchison there with a grab in traffic and an immediate throw for a score for Colorado.
We've talked about Pitt using its entire roster aside from just counting on Normile. That's how they've won games all weekend long, all season long.
Especially at Nationals when the pressure is so intense and the teams are so good, you cannot win the entire tournament on the back of one individual.
My question for you is, should they be relying on Normile and put the disc in her hands more often down the stretch in the second half of the semifinals?
Look, I think what they're doing is working for them. Offensively, they're flowing nicely. Of course, if things continue to get tight, then it will take her to step up to play harder.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll tell you who won the 2018 Callahan. 8-7, Pitt leads Colorado in this first women's semifinal.
Welcome back to the USA Ultimate 2018 College Championships. We're here at halftime of the first women's semifinal. I'm joined by Ben Banyas, the coach of Pittsburgh Danger. His team is leading Colorado Colley 8-7. Ben, the first time Danger has been in a setting like this, a national semifinal game, how's your team's morale and how are they handling the pressure?
I think they're doing a great job. We approach every game, practice the same, right? They're out there for each other and they're just working hard, and we just ask that they do that every time they step on the field.
So Carolyn Normile, your MVP, she's played a ton of points in the first half. How much does she have left in the tank and how much are you going to rely on her in the second half?
I think at this point in a weekend like this, 90-degree weather, it all comes down to how much someone wants it. And Carolyn plays for her team, and they're going to support her, and she's going to support them 100%. So I think everybody on this team has everything they need in the tank for the second half.
And what's the number one thing you emphasize to the team back in the halftime huddle?
They played a great half, and they're doing great.
Well, thanks a lot, Ben. Best of luck here in the second half. When we come back, we'll have the conclusion of the first women's semifinal here at the 2018 USA Ultimate College Championships.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds,
Defy the naysayers.
And even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, it knows empty bleachers.
a place where we remember to laugh,
where we learn to trust,
learn to high-five strangers,
and eventually even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play ultimate, we live ultimate.
The winner of the 2018 Callahan Award is Stanford's Gabe Hernandez, on the back of a heroic performance in the final of Southwest Regionals. In a one-bid region, he piloted Stanford Bloodthirsty over Cal Poly San Luis Obispo with 2 goals, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Got his team to rally from 11-8 down to a 13-11 win. And by the way, he did so after tearing his ACL in the first half. Unbelievable performance. He's a great player, and he's the 2018 Callahan Award winner.
Someone who can play with that much heart, having endured an injury like that, truly deserves the award.
Other finalists were Pittsburgh's Dylan Best, Oregon's Adam Reese, UNC Charlotte's Jacob Fairfax, and North Carolina's Nathan Kwon. Second half action underway. Colorado thinking big. Oh goodness, Knee Win went over the top. Knee Win, ladies and gentlemen, connecting with Katie McCormick for the Collie score. And we're tied at 8.
As soon as that disc went off, I thought, what a poor decision from Bennett. But Bennett clearly knows her teammate better than me. Never mind the pile up. Knee Win will fly up to save possession of the disc.
It looked like Alongo thought she had it.
Alongo had position, was playing appropriately. Win surprised everyone by reaching over Alongo.
She's not healthy, and yet she's still making game-changing plays on the semifinal stage.
How appropriate after talking about Gabe Hernandez's performance with a torn ACL. Of course, a torn ACL, a little more serious than a hamstring issue, but I'm sure Win suffering from the hamstring issues and playing through it would argue that this is just as difficult to do and requires just as much heart to continue to perform when your body is just not cooperating.
Knee Win had 7 goals in the semifinal loss to Texas last year. It was her first assist of the game, and she hasn't scored a goal, but she certainly impacted this game in a big way. Now Pittsburgh on the counter. Normile accelerates to make the catch near the pylon. Foul called, it'll come in at 1. Just watching Normile with the disc, you can see her mind processing every possible option. And she's got all the throws. Righty, lefty, doesn't matter. There's the high release flick out of her toolkit. Sarah Russick with another goal. Normile another assist. Pittsburgh back up by 1.
So I do not envy Lostra. As you say, you can see Normile moving through the different possibilities. As a defender, it can be very difficult to take away all of the options, knowing what kind of throws Normile has, knowing what kind of player she is. You can put on a very good mark and she'll still sneak one past you.
Hey, Ian, it looked like Lostra had a pretty good mark, and yet she dropped her arm down for just a moment and Normile took advantage.
And you know, in these no-win conditions, it's that much more challenging to put an effective mark on a creative thrower like Normile. If she were working upwind, you know, that low hand drop at the last second might be the smart move. But in these still wind conditions, it's that much easier for a creative high release throw to get off at a high stall count.
She's a mechanical engineering major at Pittsburgh. Engineering Pittsburgh into the semifinals. They lead 9-8. Now it's Colorado's turn. Both points in the second half have been turnover free. Third one, an immediate throwaway. Sun needs a reset. And Longo's swing caught by Grajewski. Despite the defense nearby, Russell was stride for stride.
If Russell would have just pulled the trigger and bid, she could have gotten that block.
Sun goes over the top, and it's deflected away.
It is a dangerous decision to throw over the Colorado stack. In their game against Texas this morning, I think just about every team member registered at least one block against Texas.
This time it was Rachel Wilmoth, the back of the end zone. Over to Kelsey Bennett. Oh, another very close catch on the underneath, despite the bid from the Pittsburgh player, Torrey Smith. Back to Bennett. She distributes to Capra. And here's Wynn to Bennett. Launching deep. Oh yeah, just shy of the goal line. And now Colorado is in. McCormick to Henderson. Keyed by the D from Wilmoth.
And that score brought to you by Kelsey Bennett. She may not have been involved in the goal or the assist, but the way she led her team down the field, breaking the mark on her own half of the field and attacking upfield to catch a dishy and keep the disc moving. Crucial handling and field general skills from Bennett.
Responsible for about 68 of the 70-yard march down the field. What stands out to you most, Megan, when you watch Bennett as a thrower?
Well, like I said earlier, I really like how analytical she is. When she picks up the disc, she pauses for a moment and just takes a look at what is transpiring down the field. I really feel that it helps establish a tone of calm for her players. She doesn't look frenzied. She doesn't look like she's trying to hurry anything. For that reason, also, I feel that she exudes a lot of confidence. She knows she's going to get the disc someplace appropriate. She's just going to take her time, weighing her options, and then striking.
Reminds me a little bit of San Francisco Fury handler Carolyn Finney, who played on the World Games team. As the deep shot goes up for Normile, and she leaps just shy of the end zone. To Kasowski. Colorado did a nice job denying the around, but then gave up the open side cut. Sarah Russick beating her defender to the pylon again.
I think they presumed incorrectly that Kasowski was so committed to throwing the disc to Normile that she wouldn't look up into the end zone. There's Normile's catch just shy of the end zone. The dump pass to Kasowski, and then it really looks as though she wants to return the disc to Normile. Bennett just a little slow to react to Russick's cut to the front corner.
Normile can take a lot of the attention from the defense.
That's a very fair point.
So 4 goals of her team's 10 scores so far in the semifinal for Sarah Russick. Miranda Kosowski picking up her 3rd assist. Normile getting a breather. Mentioned Carolyn Finney and relating her to Kelsey Bennett and her patience with the disc. Finney has told me when she walks to the disc, she counts each of the 7 defenders on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it just gives her a full vision of everything on the field, which is something that I think a lot of handlers should do. Or you just launch it long. Oh, just out of the reach of Henderson. Pretty throw, inches away from the Colorado cutter.
Henderson, no doubt, just a little bit confused as to how she didn't end up with the disc. Her run, her reach seemed so precise, but it was off by just a few inches.
And this is the first point this half that Carolyn Normile has not been on the field. She's on the sidelines here, so this will be an incredible confidence boost for the Pittsburgh D-line offense if they're able to punch this in without Carolyn.
High throw, well adjusted to by Alongo. Pittsburgh's halfway to the other goal line. Oh, and how about the rejection and interception on the point block from Meg Henderson. And that's a laser beam that Haley Grajewski read all the way. Grajewski had that great sky over 2 defenders to beat Colorado during the regular season. Ni Win intercepts the deep shot. Henderson swings for Bennett. How about this pivoting from Bennett? Win wants another assist. Back of the end zone, bobbled and out of bounds.
And this is where I'm sure, like to admit it or not, players are clearly getting tired. You don't expect back-to-back mistakes like this from Henderson, especially in the end zone, especially in the semifinals of college nationals.
Hard to tell with the different lines, but I think even if she caught that on the first touch, she would have been out of bounds. Pittsburgh not showing the patience, trying to go the full field in a couple throws and not enough oomph on that last one as Capra ushers it to the ground. When you talked about how these 2 teams are gritty, this is one of those points where that comes in. Who will be grittier when things aren't clicking?
Well, grit is how they both ended up in the semifinals of nationals. It will come down to who can work through the fatigue a little bit more.
There have been more turnovers on this point than any other in the game. Pittsburgh doesn't have Normile on the field. Shot to the end zone, intercepted again by Wynn. Nice shot for Wilmoth. There was certainly contact. Wonder if that throw is catchable.
The contact happened so early. That's going to be a very tricky one.
Foul called.
No contest.
You'll get the disc right here, right over here. I believe she had a play on that if she hadn't got taken out, 20 yards before she could even get there. So, yeah.
It's a break for Colorado for sure. Bennett keeps it alive. Little shimmy. Backhand break is into the end zone for the College score.
A very fatiguing point for both teams, but Colorado hanging on just a little bit more. And here we see Bennett keep the disc alive, finishing off with a backward somersault to pop back up.
Looked like a gymnast there.
And make this play.
Colorado's taking a timeout. After the game-tying score, it's 10-all. Good news is the sky is blue. There aren't too many ominous clouds. We're not going to have another lightning delay for the moment, knock on wood. Tied at 10. We're about 6 minutes away from the soft cap. Another game that looks like it's going right down to the wire.
We certainly have been treated to two very exciting semifinals so far.
Ben Banyas in one huddle, Claire Chastain in the other. Banyas in his third season leading the Pitt women, Claire Chastain in her fourth. Example number 1,148, why College Nationals is awesome. The energy of the in-game cheers, 10-10 in the semifinals.
If there was one thing that I think won the game against Texas for Colorado, I would have to say it was their energy. It's the only way that they maintained the kind of constant defensive pressure that they did against a Texas squad that on paper should have advanced.
Certainly some second guessing of Texas Melee's decision to run some of their top players in their meaningless pool play game at the end of the day on Saturday. They still had a full night's rest before the next day's game, but it did appear Melee ran out of gas against Colorado early this morning after jumping out to an early lead. Can Danger respond and maintain their slight edge? There have only been 4 breaks in the entire game. We were on serve at the half, 8-7. Still on serve now, but because Pittsburgh received at the start, and remember that was Colorado's choice, Collie won the flip, chose to play D. If Pitt can hold the rest of the way, they will head to the final for the first time in program history. Oh, what a catch there. Normile slings it closer to the end zone. She's going up the line. High flick, well done. Schreiber to Normile.
What a nice put from Schreiber to Normile. And you see, as soon as Normile gets the disc, she immediately starts cutting for the end zone. Schreiber sees that, recognizes the step she has on Lostra, puts just enough flick and height on that forehand put to allow Normile to run up underneath it. The timing, the execution was perfect.
Normile will stay out there and play D. Involved in 7 of her team's 11 goals in this semifinal. Normile to pull. Into the hands of Bennett. With Smith on the mark, bouncing. Forcing backhand, that's where Bennett goes, to a wide open receiver. Had to be a miscommunication and a switch downfield. Ian, did you notice anything there?
I think Normile was just sticking with the deepest cutter for the first 1 to 2 throws and then passing off to some defenders who were closer to the disc after.
Over here. This is good right here. Okay. It's at the time when she fell, so.
Okay, so we have okay. Okay, you've heard me for the ruling? Observer ruling is disc is up. So we have an injury substitution now for Colorado. All right, you're good.
Injury substitution.
Not good news for Collie with Meg Henderson having to leave the game.
Blue, would you like a sub?
Capra replaces her, she'll have the disc.
One. You can pick the disc up, and when you guys are ready, you can go ahead.
Back to Bennett. Tori Smith, nice job rounding to try to stop the break, but as soon as she got close, Bennett broke her anyway and then burst past her for the quick reset. And there is the Colorado score. It literally came 1 second after the horn. So believe the soft cap is on. We're tied at 11s. It's a game to 13, folks.
Did go off just before that point was scored. So soft cap is on. We're playing a game of 13, everybody.
Bennett has been doing a great job of working that break side lane. It's very difficult to take that away from her. Like you said, a little shimmy to open up that break throw to Wilmoth there. And then again, she finds that inside lane.
If she had thrown it 2 seconds earlier, I think 11-11, knowing that we were going to 14, regardless of who scored next, is a different feeling. Now the sense of urgency, if it wasn't heightened, intensifies greatly.
Absolutely, and you made the point earlier that as long as Pittsburgh holds, they will win this game. So Colorado is down to very few opportunities to generate a break and convert if they want to take this game away.
7 points so far in the second half. 5 of them have been turnover free. One of them included 8 turnovers. The one that tied it at 10 when Bennett hit Wilmoth. Pittsburgh continues their smooth offense. Trapped on the sideline. Get it to Schreiber, she'll reset. Blizzard over to Kozowski. Oh, getting that over the cup and then connecting with with Pagano. Oh goodness, trying to jump into the end zone. She collided with Rachel Wilmoth.
Take as much time as you need. Take as much time as you need. Would you like an injury, or are you okay? Okay.
It's a wobbly, I'm good, but she seems to be all right. All the observers come together.
Collie, dangerous play.
more careful of where she's going and her lack of sight. So that's your first CMF. Thank you.
So you were not in, so it's going to come over there? Well, wait. We're going to tap the disc, and then we'll go live, okay? Are you okay? Cool.
TMF dished out for the dangerous play. You get 2 warnings. And Normile quickly converts another score for the Pittsburgh superstar.
Well, Colorado came out with a zone look to try and slow down the offense, throw something new at them to see if that's potentially what they could do to stop Pittsburgh offensive flow. But Pittsburgh was able to get over the disc with relative ease and then work down the field because they were ahead of the majority of the defenders.
And I think that's a smart coaching decision on the part of Claire Chastain and Christina Mickle. Give the Pittsburgh offense something it hasn't seen in a high-pressure situation, and they did force one high throw, but as you mentioned, Megan, once they got through that challenging situation, they were off to the races with ease.
What will Claire Chastain's offense dial up here? Turnover free last time out. If Colorado cannot hold, it'll be Pittsburgh advancing to the championship for the first time ever. Pittsburgh finished 9th in their first ever trip to nationals. That was when Molly Moore was a player, 2010, now an assistant coach. Pittsburgh's last couple trips, they have struggled in pool play, did not get into that top 12 championship bracket. This weekend has obviously already been very special.
Well, I have loved this semifinal just because of the story of both teams coming to the semifinal. And I love the comparison between the two programs. Both Colorado, both Pitt are focused on developing their youth, and it shows in the way they have trusted the entire roster of their team. Even though we've seen important performances from Normile on Pittsburgh and Bennett on Colorado, it's not as though any one person is trying to do too much.
Bennett with Smith again bouncing on the mark to Henderson. Capra was wide open, and then she threw into the deflection. Normile got a piece of it, and Wynn could not handle the ricochet. Pittsburgh danger has the disc, and looking deep. Normile sending Rusick. Everyone converging, and it's incomplete. You guys like that decision from Normile?
Honestly, I was a little bit surprised. Rusick would have had to make the play of the game in order to reel that one in.
Another chance for Colley. Wynn holstered it once, not twice. That's a gorgeous throw. Will it hang enough? Oh yeah! Hauled in on the run by Russell. 12-all.
What a cut from Russell. Recognized that Wynn was in good position to put up a beauty of a throw. Wynn had a receiver who had started to cut just a little bit earlier. Wynn thought twice. And then when Russell went streaking into the end zone, Wynn was eager to hit that perfectly.
Last year, Colorado fell to Texas in the semifinals 14-12. This year, it will be a universe point result either way. The top 7 lines for each team are ready to go. Normile and Kozowski, Bianis, Blizzard, Schreiber, Rusick out there as well, and for Colorado, knee win ready to pull. Rachel Wilmoth is out there. Kelsey Bennett. Katiana Hutchinson. Universe point for a berth in tomorrow's championship game at Nationals. Needing a reset. Up the line, off the fingertips, and it won't come back in play for Normile. A chance for Kali. Bennett will pick it up. Whoever wins this, it's an unlikely outcome. The 10 seed and the 12 seed.
Pick call, you probably come back too. So let's say you were at 6. Let's say coming in on 4. Coming in on 4.
Bennett, laser, deflected and caught. Wilmoth hauls it in after Rusick got a piece. Tremendous handler defense, but Colorado gets it back to Bennett. Looking for the win. Pittsburgh will get it back.
That was such an unlikely gift from the Pittsburgh offense to put the disc in Colorado's hands. I'm sure Bennett would love to have that throw again. Had she flipped the lip of the disc up just a little bit to put some outside-in shape on that disc, this game might be over.
Pittsburgh has 70 yards to go, and with the stall count rising, Blizzard forced to launch it, and it lands at midfield on the turf. So many of the fans here in Milwaukee are on their feet. A game that has been interrupted multiple times by lightning delays has reached the brink. Hutchinson. Normile on the mark. Up the line for Bennett. Is she in? Yes! Colorado Kali headed to the finals.
Katiana Hutchinson for Kelsey Bennett. And the winning score for Kali.
Here's the second turnover from Pittsburgh in the same point. The disc just a little too high and too many Colorado defenders in the area. And now the string of throws from Colorado to get them just outside of their end zone. Bennett taking her time as she has done all tournament.
Taking her time and taking this final sequence over.
Hutchinson outside the end zone. Bennett almost looks surprised at the opportunity that's right in front of her.
She tapped the disc in as if she didn't realize she had just won the game. Incredible.
Pagano gave Bennett the pine cut. Bennett took it straight into the end zone.
We're going to get this next one started in about 25 minutes is the goal. Carlton cut, Pittsburgh and Sabanor.
The only break of the second half came on Universe Point. And for the first time in program history, the Colorado Women's Ultimate Team is on its way to Championship Monday at Nationals. We'll be back. The 2018 USA Ultimate College Championships are presented by Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin Ultimate on the web at spinultimate.com. And by Discraft, the official disc of USA Ultimate, now available at Midwest Meyer stores and over 2,000 retailers nationwide. Before this year, Colorado Women's Ultimate had been to the semifinals at Nationals 7 times. They had never advanced to the finals. 0-7 in semifinal games. They are now a finalist in 2018, 13-12, breaking Pittsburgh danger to win it on the final point. Our play of the game is brought to you by Discraft, home of the Ultra Star. High stall count situation and a blizzard sending it deep. No one on Pitt could make the grab. And then Megan, take us through Colorado's winning sequence.
Well, Bennett just marched it down the field with authority, finding Russell. She has done so many times this tournament. Then streaking up to help out Hutchinson, recognizes that she has a cut up the line, makes it, and finds herself in the unlikely place, the end zone, having won the game.
What a game for Colorado Colley. Ian Toner standing by with Knee Win, one of the heroes for UC.
Knee, a year ago, you're on the losing end of this semifinal battle. What has been the focus of the Colley leadership in the last year?
The first thing was rebuilding our program, right? We have 11 rookies here, and so this is our first nationals. So we spent a lot of time building on our fundamentals. But we were really hungry, right? We had a couple quarterfinals finishes a couple years ago. Last year was the first semifinals finish for anyone who was on the team last year. And then finally breaking past the semifinals barrier that Colley has never made it past before was a huge goal of ours, and we finally did it. We put our heart on the line out there, and I'm super proud of the team and how we played today.
Well, that much was evident. You've played in some huge games on the club and international level. Where does this victory rank for you personally?
Personally, this is the biggest goal that I've ever had, was to be able to compete in a national championship. Have not been able to do that with Molly Brown yet. Hopefully this is the year. But for Colley, for a team that I've been playing for the past 5 years, and for a team that's been grinding year-round, I think that this has been the biggest achievement for myself and hopefully for a lot of others on the team as well.
So tomorrow, you're going to have Stanford or Dartmouth. Any thoughts on those opponents?
They both have had excellent tournaments. We played Dartmouth in pool play, actually. I think we gave them the best game from our pool. We saw where our weaknesses were, and so hopefully we can readjust for them. As far as Stanford goes, we had only one matchup with them this year at Pres Day, and that was a really close game as well. So we'll have to go back, look at some of the footage, and hopefully figure out some strategies to get past them.
Well, go rest up. Best of luck. Congratulations on the victory. Back up to you, Evan.
Ian and Nee, thank you so much. A look at the women's bracket. Colorado, the 12 seed, on its way to the championship game against either the #1 seed Dartmouth, last year's champ, or #4 seed Stanford, the champ from 2 years ago. Colorado's going to be an underdog whomever they face, but Nee Win has proven don't count her and her team out. Wow, what a game. 13-12. We're 2 for 2 with Universe Point Thrillers so far on semifinal Sunday. But we still got 2 more to go. In the men's division, we got Pittsburgh and Carleton, and then later tonight, Stanford and Dartmouth. Hope you'll be back with us in a little bit. But for now, for Ian Toner and Megan Tormey, Evan Lepler saying so long from Milwaukee. Final score, 13-12, Colorado over Pittsburgh. All games airing on the ESPN network, streaming live on the ESPN app. To watch the entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.